Okay, so, I'm not really sure where the first recording stopped at, but for the final touches on the discipline lesson, you covered the seminars. No, I thought you were, okay, I am. Do we have them in here? I'm great. So there are seminars about them that we talk. Thank you. We need to have a picture one. The teacher has to be right, all the time. All right, so, so she's going when we think about discipline, I'm sure that, Ms. Ashley went over that discipline derived from the Latin word discipulus, and if you go back in time and think about like the biblical times of the 12 disciples, what were they? They were teachers of the word. So they were teachers. So the discipline means to teach. So what are you teaching? You're teaching alternate behavior to the behavior you don't want, okay? So, for instance, if my child is riding their bicycle on the street and I've already given them instructions to stay on the sidewalk, then their punishment would be they can't ride their bicycle. That would also be how I impose discipline. Okay, so there has to be consequences if you lay down a rule. So you guys understand that discipline does not mean to spank, whip, rule, punish. It means to teach alternate behavior, right? So there's 7 R's that we have kind of put with the word discipline to kind of help you remember some things when you leave class and you're interacting with your children. Kind of keep these in the back of your mind. And the first one is respectful. So why, out of all of the human bodies on God's great green earth, would you want to be respectful to your own children? That's right. Because of all the people on this great earth that deserves your respect, it is your own little mini people that you have created. So you should respect them, right? Respect isn't, you don't beat respect into a child. You don't fear respect into a child. A child will respect you when you stick to your word, when you model the behavior that you're trying to teach them. If you say don't ride your bicycle in the street, I'm out there all riding mine in the street, not that I'm not grown enough to, but I'm not displaying the same behaviors I want my child. If I say I better not ever catch a cigarette in your mouth, but I'm out there smoking in front of them, then I'm not modeling the behavior, right? All right, so we got to respect our kids. Your children should never have your children should have your respect and be spoken to respectfully. Don't talk down to your kids and don't talk at to your kids. So let me give an example of that. So you get home from school and your son knows that the first thing he has to do is complete his homework before he can lay on the couch or go outside or whatever, right? Okay, so you told your child's actually done his homework and he's piled up on the couch, but he has his cereal bowl with leftover milk sitting on the floor, and he's got his shoes kicked off on the back of the couch, and he's got his hat thrown everywhere. So it's kind of like made a little disaster. So you ask him, would you please get up and put your cereal bowl in the dishwasher or the sink and get your shoes off of the couch? That's not where shoes belong. They belong on the floor. Okay. Now let's just say he still lays there. You're being, you know what? Your behavior is lazy. Your behavior is lazy. I need you to get up and do what I've asked you to do. So what did I do did I call him a name? Behavior is lazy. Not that he's lazy, his behavior is lazy. Because what's the difference in that? What is the difference in me saying you're lazy to me saying your behavior is lazy?
Because saying he is being lazy is talking down on him and not addressing the behavior at hand.
That's true. That's true. And also, if I'm calling him lazy, I am labeling him as lazy. If I say your behavior is lazy, your behavior is something you can change. Right. Who you are isn't. Right. So if I call my child stupid, he thinks he's stupid. Yeah. So he wears that. Right, but if you call out the behavior and not the child, behavior is something that can be changed, a label's not. So be mindful about that. All right, the second one is reveal. Reveal. What should I reveal to my kids? The rules, but and just as importantly, the consequences, right? So we're going to the splash pad, and I've got two neighbor kids and my two kids, and we're going to the splash pad, we're in the car, and I'm saying, okay, when we get to the splash pad, y'all have to stay on the splash pad. If I catch you wandering off somewhere, you're gonna sit with me in timeout on the bench, and you're not gonna get to go play again. Okay, so we're out there, we're playing. First kid runs off the bench, and I have to go get him. And I gotta sit him beside me. Well, he's trying to vision and fit now, because, you know, the other three did what they were supposed to do, and they're playing on the splash pad. And he's mad, he's sulking, he's pounding, he's mad. He can be mad. He'll be okay. Let him, let him be mad. The other three are still gonna get to play. You don't do mass punishment. You don't take them all four home because one's acting up. That one needs to have those consequences imposed. They are related to the crime. You run off, you have to sit down. You ride the bike in the road, you can't ride your bike. You come on walls, you lose access to your coach, right? All right, so he's got to sit down. It is what it is. And I bet the next time you take him to the splash pad, he will wander off, right? But what was important was that I gave them the rules and the consequences before we left, and I stuck to it. All right, responsibility. So here's the big thing about why it matters that you tell them the consequences and rules. Because now you are putting their behavior, the responsibility of their behavior, in their lap. So it's their choice to make. Now, why should a 4-year-old care anything about having a choice to make? Mind the rules, get to play, break the rules, get in timeout. Why would a 4-year-old, why would we care that a 4-year-old learns consequences?
If you tell how he's supposed to conduct him or herself, as they're growing up, so that they don't grow up.
Well, you knew it when you said that they're growing up. So what happens as you grow up, as you get older? The decisions that you make have greater consequences, right? So you're 16 years old, you're on your first date, your boyfriend's drunk, he tells you to get in the car, let's go. You gonna get in the car with your 16-year-old boyfriend who's drunk? No, you might. You might. But see, here's the thing. If you start them young, understanding that your decision making, your child's decision making has consequences. You run off the splash pad, you got to go in timeout. You stay on the splash pad, you get to play. But you're giving your child the choice to behave or not, to follow the rules or not. That's why it's important to start at age 3 and 4, because as they get to be 15 and 16 years old, if your child has displayed good decision-making skills because they've weighed the consequences of the behavior, then chances are the 16-year-old is going to call mom and say, hey, Joey's been drinking a little bit tonight. We know he's supposed to, but can you come pick us up? That's what your 16-year-old child will do if you give them the option to learn how to make decisions when they're young. That's a big thing we miss. We miss that. We miss teaching our kids coping skills, which is why everybody in the world's falling apart right now. People don't know how to handle their emotions. It's important to learn how to handle your emotions. That comes also with decision making. The child over here pitching a fit, he got put in time out. He knew that was the consequences. He'll be all right. He'll be strong. He's learning coping skills. If you do all that really deep dive into gentle parenting and you're like, oh, honey, it'll be okay. Next time you just have to mind. No, let him feel his emotions to the degree. And if you start taking up, kicking wives and things like that, how some children might do, that's when you round up the other 4 kids, you take that one home, and then you take the other 3 back to the splash pad.
Right.
Okay? Well, the thing is, though, if you impose those type of rules in your home early, your child's not going to freak out because they're going to have some emotional regulation of themselves. But if it's all chaos and your rules are bent and broken and sideways and crooked, and you're not even thinking about the rules, why would you make your child do?
Like I've noticed a lot, coming up, like especially with younger parents, like they be in denial that sometimes like their child might be autistic or something. Which you can't really help it, but they be in denial about it, and they always be saying like the child bad, like y'all always doing something. No, If a child got mental problems, you supposed, take them to the court and whoop them.
Well,
If-
and see, that's really where their pediatrician's important, because that's a medical decision, and we don't have the knowledge of what program to go and all that. But that's why it's important that your children have pediatricians, because anything abnormal, the pediatrician should be able to address or witness, and then be able to prescribe or forward him to, or she to, maybe a child psychologist or behavior management, whatever the case may be. But it's important that the pediatrician be involved, because that's a medical diagnosis, say that the child is either autistic, or has ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, anything like that, ADHD, that's a medical, a diagnosis, which obviously we don't look here. But children like that, that's what's important, taking to the pediatrician.
They won't get children, they medicine like this.
No, yeah, they're not, because sometimes it's more that the parent needs to change their behavior than that the child needs to change
I
theirs.
can understand and see somebody keep whooping a child.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you go so wrong with the
They need
child,
to-
why you
you
keep on
You
whooping?
need to send them over here to the class, okay? Because they need to learn. Because I can tell you something, the greatest parent in the world is the one who realizes that sometimes it's their behavior that needs to be changed and not their child. That's the sign of great parenting. All right, number 4, repeat. Now that we're in the car, we're going to the splash pad, and I've given the rules and I've given the consequences, what do I do then? I want them to repeat back to me. So where are we going? To the splash pad. What are we gonna do? Stay on it. What's gonna happen to the dog? Sit down. Yeah. Make a little cheering game. Have them repeat it. All right, number 5. This is a biggie. Relate. The discipline and the punishment needs to be related. Example, if I steal a candy bar and I get sentenced to 5 years, I'm gonna be mad. I ain't even thinking about that candy bar or the crime I committed. I'm just mad at the judge. All right? Now, if you take your 16-year-old child who did ride home with the drunk boyfriend, okay, who didn't call, all right, and you ground her for 2 months, what do you think's gonna happen?
You'll rebel.
Okay, exactly. She's gonna forget the bad choice she made to get in the car with somebody driving. She's gonna forget that. Now all she's focused on is what a crappy parent you are, how much she hates you, and wishes you would die, and wishes she was grown, and get out of the house. So the focus completely goes off of the behavior that got her in trouble and goes on to the punishment. So it needs to be balanced, okay? And also needs to relate. Example, if you told little Timmy he could go to the birthday party, skate rink party Saturday with his little friend from school because he's having a birthday party, and he brings home an F in math that Thursday before, does he get to go to that birthday party?
No.
Yes,
No.
yes, yeah. Yeah. It has nothing to do. What's the first thing that you want to address with your child who brings home that F? What's the very first thing that needs to come out of your mouth? Go. Bingo. What caused this? Are you not turning in your homework? Are you goofing off in class? Or do you not understand math? Report it, figure out why. Once you see the root of why that F came, you can address that, okay? Because it may be, you need to get a tutor for your child in that math. It may be your child ain't turning in homework. What would be the consequences for that? More homework. If he's struggling in the subject, you want to get a tutor, work him through it. If it's not turning in homework, you give him more homework. The party has nothing to do with the grades, with the behavior of school, not. So that's what you want to address, okay? Always make sure it's kind of related, because if not, the lesson's gonna get lost on the punishment that doesn't even fit the crime. All right. We just kind of touched on this, responsible, time for punishment. There again, you don't want to ground a 16-year-old for 2 months over a bad decision. You need to make it enough where she understands she made a bad decision and she won't make it again, but not enough so she has to ground you walk on and get what she did wrong. And the most important one is the last R, and that is reward. So if your child is being good, 3 or 4 days go by here and you're having to get on to them, brag on that baby. Brag on that baby. Brag on them.
To make them do something bad though.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're giving them attention when they're being good,
Yeah.
you're gonna get more good.
Yeah.
If the only attention they get from you is when they're acting up, they're gonna act up, because attention's attention no matter why you get. And here's a suggestion. Get a shoebox and cut a hole in the top of it and let the kids color it, decorate it, put stickers on it or whatever. And inside that shoebox where they can reach their hand, you're gonna have some little slips of paper. And on those little slips of paper, you're gonna have things like, go to park, feed the ducks, go fishing, go get a dollar ice cream cone, get down on the floor and do a coloring activity, color with your kid on the floor, build Legos together, build a house with the Legos. Things that you can do for free and things that are gonna have you interacting with your child. And when your child's been doing a couple of that, let them go into that reward box. And whatever they pull out is what you get to do with them. And it's stuff that's free. Because at the end of the day, you can buy your kid one of those Nintendo Switches, a PlayStation 242, and you know what's gonna matter, and you know what they're gonna remember when they get older. The times you went to the park, that you went fishing, that you went camping, that you colored in the floor, that you built the Legos. I can't tell you right now what I got for Christmas when I was 8 years old, but I can tell you the fun time I had with the French fried chicken with my family on Sunday. Because that was our thing. So make the memories.
So
Okay.
actually, speaking of the box, me and Ashley had a conversation about this last week because my kid was acting out in school.
Mhm.
And one of the questions was kind of relatable to the birthday party and homework. And he had got in trouble and I was like, well, I don't take his cookies away for his birthday, right? And she was like, no. And then she suggested the box. And they have loved it.
Mhm.
I've done all kinds of stuff, like they get to pick out the meal for that
Yes.
night, or like
Yes,
make the muffin mix, and
yes.
even my niece is getting on.
So
it.
how do you decide in your household, what is your rules? What is it about you that helps you determine what things you consider important to your house as far as rules go?
Just, I guess, it'd be listening and then doing good in school.
No, I mean,
No.
mom and dad. What, yes, your values and your, your values and your morals, yes. They are what determine what you said is rules. Like if you, like I brought my kids up to Little Liars, ain't gonna lie. I did, I mean, you know, I was on drugs and I would take my little kids with me because they weren't in school yet. We'd go to the drug man's house who happened to be by a cow pasture. And so, you know, I'd say, we're gonna go see the cows. I didn't say, Mom, we gotta go get some dope, right?
Yeah.
I said, we gotta go see the cows. And then when we come home, I'd say, if Daddy asks you if you went somewhere, don't tell him you went to see the cows. So what I've really done is I've put my children in a protective mode of their mom. So now they feel like, now the roles are reversed. Instead of me protecting them, they're trying to protect me by lying for me. So I've done two things. I reverse roles. Now they want to protect mom from dad, verbal or physical, didn't matter. And I taught them that it's okay to lie if it keeps you out of trouble. So now I've done a big disservice to both my children, and they can lie so good. They're grown, they're married, they got good careers, but they can look at you in the face and lie like a dog. I taught them that. That's a moral, that's a value. Honesty is a value that I hold dear in my life now. I will tell you the truth, no matter what, even if it costs me your friendship, or if it costs me pain in my heart, or whatever, I will be honest, because that is something I did not instill in my children. So that's a value, okay, honesty. Morals are what you see is right or wrong, okay? So you've got morals that are, it's not okay to lie. It's better to tell the truth. Your values, if you look at your checkbook or your debit card, if you go in your bank and look at your debit card and look where you spend most of your money, that's gonna be a good indicator of what your values are. My husband, he values Chevron. He values the Chevron when he stops in the Chevron. He spent so much money at Chevron. Monster, Pepsi, cigarettes, snacks. And I'm like, oh my God. And then it's like when you add up the little $5 and $6 spends at the end of the month, you got $422 to the Chevron. That's like a car payment. Or a house payment. Anyway, but your values are what you hold dear, okay? So if you discipline your children, I'll tell you what. So this is a good way to kind of set up some structure in your house with some rules. Get your kids involved. All right, so you need to have a family night. For that family night, go to the Red Box, Rich and DVD. If you don't have Netflix, get your little brother and continue pizzas, because them supposed to do it. And cook them in the oven, not on a sheet pan. Let them hit that rack. It makes them crusty. It's really good. So get one of these pizzas, get you a DVD, plan a movie night with your kids. This is some bonding time for y'all to spend together, pick out a good easy movie or something. And then you want to ask your kids. So we're going to do some rules in our home that we're all going to follow. So I need to ask you, you might want to start with the oldest one. So what do you think should be our number one rule in our house? Respect each other. Okay, y'all use two different words. Courtesy and respect. I'm thinking of like, don't talk back. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't talk back. So that's respect.
Don't argue with each other.
Okay, so that can kind of.
No fighting.
No fighting, okay. So we'll do don't talk back as one.
Clean up behind you.
Don't fight as we talk back.
Hygiene is a must. Can you keep saying?
Okay, so hang
kids,
on. What was the second one? No fighting?
Yeah.
What was the third one?
Clean up after yourself.
Clean up. Okay, and then no
Hygiene.
touch, take your bath. Okay, bathe. Okay, and then one more. Dinner. We know where we're going with that, right? Okay, so now these are your kids. Your kids gave you these rules. Because your kids are following your lead. They see what's important to you by what you punish or discipline. They see what's not important to you by what you let go. So if you do give them cake before dinner, then they're gonna know that's not gonna be necessarily something that you put a lot of steak on, right? I mean, like steak is in, you don't. Okay, so what should be the consequences to don't talk back? Your 7-year-old, I tell you, I need you to go pick those dirty clothes and put them in the clothes basket. And he says, why don't you go do it? You tomorrow.
Take the video guy.
No, you do. Talk to him.
Make them right then.
Bam. Write some sentences. That's a good one.
You wanna take the video game?
No. No, he's gonna write, he's gonna have time to play video games, because he's gonna be writing some sentences. Right? Write sentences. No fighting. What should happen?
Go to your room.
Nope, put them together.
T-shirt.
Put them together.
T-shirt.
Put them together.
Put them together.
Let them do something together.
Right. Make them hug, make them play a game together, like come up with a game, don't give them no dodgeball in it. But have them come up with a game where they really have to rely on each other to play. And, they're like, and you get involved too. You can do the mother layout, you know, okay, take one step forward, one step forward. Did you say mother layout? No. Y'all have played red light, green light?
Yeah, what happened, red light?
Red light, green light. So what happens if they don't clean up?
No go outside.
That could be true. Yep, stay in. So let me ask you this. If you have a child, if you have two children, and they're totally different, not dark, and your one child loves to play outside and the other loves video games. Switch it. That's how, exactly. That's how you learn what discipline works for your children. One size fits all is not gonna work. Because you could have put me outside, made me get out the house as punishment. I love it. You make my sister get out the house and go play, and she would cry like a baby. And she wanted to look at magazines and paint her toenails and all that girly stuff. So we were two different. My youngest loved to go outside and play, pop wheelies, ride bicycle. My oldest wanted to be in front of the computer. So my way of disciplining them fit their personalities and their lives. Zach had to go outside and play. Will had to get there on the computer. You see, come inside, didn't matter what you did. So you gotta know your kids too to know what works with them. And then, you know, for bathing, there's really not no consequence as far as bathing goes, except that depending on their age, you know, you could, have them.
I
Yeah,
told my
but you
daughter
don't
that
have to
anyway.
I mean, cause here's the thing, most kids that are young enough that you have to be reminded of bathe, they're gonna need your help in there anyway. Okay, and if a child is old enough that they're choosing not to bathe, that's when you say, I turn that shower on, I put your towel in there, your soap's in there, now get in there and I'm gonna stand outside the door and wait on you.
Some people tell their kids they only got paid twice a week. I don't think that's right.
I don't know who you be hanging around with. They scared me.
Hey, you look on TikTok.
I didn't
You
go
post on
on there.
TikTok, talking about they only make their kids paid
Oh
twice
my
a week.
God. Okay, so parent before desire, you can pretty much control that because you're the parent. They shouldn't be, you know, they might slip into the cookie jar. And if they do, then they don't get dessert after the meal because they slipped into the cookie jar. So the big thing is that these 5 rules, and you can even limit it to 3. The reason why I say that is you want it to be small enough in number that your kids remember it. If you've got 22 rules up there, yeah, they lost you a rule book.
Right, right.
They're not paying attention to that. But when you have, you know, 3 or 4 legitimate household rules where you don't fight, you don't talk back, and you clean up behind yourself. Those are some good standard rules that will also do you good in society. Don't fight, don't talk back, and clean up behind yourself, right? So that's important to keep it small and have them dictate what the consequences are. You're gonna ask them. If you ride your bike in the street, I tell you not to, what's gonna happen when you're gonna take my bike? You're absolutely right, I am. They know the consequences. If they help you create these rules and they help you determine the discipline, they're more likely to follow them because they have a stake in them. You asked them, you cared enough to put them in this situation. So now they'll be more apt to follow these because they help create them. Y'all got any questions? Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
I did.
I did,
Thank you.
Miss Jackie's not there last night.
Oh, no. You can't be complete.
Oh.